Okay, you guys, so I got a little game we're gonna play. Comment below on what you think the percentage of her eggs would be to survive in the wild, and think real hard about this. Okay, she would have like 60 eggs in the wild, and this ain't a trick. She's an albino, so we know that the albinos wouldn't do as well. We're talking about normal wild reticulated python babies in the wild. What'd be the percentage you think would survive? Comment below, and you know what? If you think somebody knows the answer better than you or as good as you, tag them and ask them the same question. Okay, guys, we'll just have a little fun facts thing. We're gonna do a little bit of math. By the way, she'd lay about 60 eggs, probably average maybe lay 10 years in a row. I would guess in the wild would be an average 10 years, and I'd say she'd average probably 50 eggs for the 10 years. She's gonna lay more and less as a baby and more. So anyway, comment below, guys. Got it. I just got to know what we come up with. Okay, next good question. People talk about fat snakes. Is there such thing as a fat snake if it's a female? If the snake's gonna lay eggs, how long is the period from her last meal typically to the time she eats again? Comment below, because we want to know. Same rule. And by the way, do you guys think we should start doing a contest and do some more sign posters and some fun stuff? Comment below that too. Everybody, so today we're going to do a little bit different. Let's learn about snakes, some details. You know, there's always that guy out there that says, "Oh my gosh, that snake's a beast." Well, think about this. If you were not going to eat for 6 months, I just wonder what you'd look like if you knew that was coming. How about you weren't going to eat for 6 months and you were going to try to make 60 babies? Well, that's exactly what a snake like this is going to do. So this snake right here is nice and heavy. And the reason why it's so heavy is real simple. It's got to be heavy. If it's not heavy, we're not going to get eggs. And if we don't get eggs, we'll get eggs actually. We'll get eggs regardless. Because you know what? A snake like this snake is laid consistently. So when a snake lays consistently, it'll go into a cycle even if it's not ready. You know why? Because its main goal in life is to reproduce. So it's willing to risk all, take all. That's why when I go to take the eggs away, they're willing to fight me and they're trying to defend their babies, because that's a natural reaction. Well, the same kind of desire tries to keep them from be willing to sacrifice themselves and the risk of their life in order to reproduce. So I like to take that risk away. I like to give them the food they want, the food they need, and get them to grow nice and big and able to lay a nice, gorgeous clutch. So let's talk about how long does a snake like this take to lay eggs. This snake right here will take about 3 months before. It takes about a month before it gets gravid, then it gets gravid, then it takes 2 months for the snake to lay eggs. So now we're 3 months to 4 months into it, depending on which cycle that she goes off of food. Then after that 4 months, then she'll sit on her eggs naturally in the wild for another 3 months, 84 days. So now you just got 7 months with no food. 7 months with no food. So the idea that a snake is fat is really because you're looking at your magazine at home at girls or boys or guys and fitness magazine, and you're thinking that a snake's supposed to look like that. Well, that's what a snake looks like when it's fighting for its life and can't find any food. And of course, we're not snakes and they're not snakes. Now, hey, of course, I'm a little on the chunky side. I know that. I'm not going to be having any kids soon, but that's my problem, not my snake's problem. So anyway, so imagine this. These snakes have a little tiny brain, they say, right? But yet somehow they're able to catch a mouse with no hands, no legs. I mean, it's just incredible. You know how they do that? They use what brain they have, very focused. So a snake like this will, I mean, it'll actually, this snake here in the wild, of course this one's not a wild snake, never been in the wild. That's the other confusion people make, is sometimes people say, well, they should be left in the wild. Well, this snake would not even survive in the wild. It's an albino, it's multi-generations out from the wild. It'd be like taking your Pekingese dog out and letting him go with the wolves. It won't go well, okay? And so these are snakes that have been kept in captivity for multiple years. This snake's grandparents we've had for probably closing in on 18 to 20 years. It's a gorgeous snake. It's actually the first of its kind color-wise, because we breed for different morphs. A lot of people say, what is a morph? It's a mutation. So it's literally a snake that's been found in the wild that had a wrong color, either missing black pigment, missing extra red pigment, missing different pattern, stripe pattern, all different kinds of things. And so what we do is we actually take those mutations and breed them together. Now, the word mutation is sometimes misused. I think that some of the new Marvel movies have made a kind of fun out of it because they've taken something that everybody sees as weakness and showed it in all these superhero strengths and all these special ways to save the world. Well, you know what? A mutation is just no different than a person, than anything. It's just a little bit different. It's just a little bit different than the rest of them. And I don't know, I'm kind of glad I'm a little bit different than the rest of them. I don't want to be like everybody else. And so anyway, these snakes are all unique. So this snake here will lay like 60 eggs. Now in the wild, that brings up a really interesting part. 60 eggs. Why do you think a snake would lay 60 eggs or 80 eggs or maybe even 100 eggs? It's real simple. Their survival rate is like almost zero. Because, insects have thousands of eggs because it's less than 1%. A snake probably has less than 1% survival rate to adulthood. There's foxes, there's wolves, there's lions, tigers, there's birds of prey. Birds of prey smoke them all the time. There's lizards, there's other snakes. King cobras eat these big pythons. Can you imagine that? They could eat what one female could lay in a year, one cobra could eat in probably, I don't know, 3-4 months, eat the whole clutch. So, maybe less than that. So, anyway, there's a reason why they lay so many eggs. There's a lot to it. These snakes are pretty amazing. They actually, pythons especially, will actually wrap around their eggs after they lay them, incubate them, which they're not cold-blooded, but they can still raise their temperature 1 or 2 degrees, they say. Protect them from the weather, protect them from wild animals. Their goal in life is to reproduce. They're willing to risk it all. And so it's pretty amazing. Can you imagine a crocodile? They actually lay their eggs. They don't incubate them, but yet the maternal instinct's so great that after they hatch, they'll stay in the area and protect their babies. So, man, it's just amazing that people think that reptiles have no feelings. Look at this snake. You think this snake is suffering because I'm petting it? Of course not. It's used to me. I'm used to it. And of course, snakes can be mean. Of course, snakes can be mean. Dogs can be mean. You know what? People can be the meanest thing on earth. And you know what? We can learn a lot from animals, a lot from people. You should learn about snakes because you'd probably, if you did, instead of being scared of them, you'd find them interesting and inquisitive, and you'd have a lot more interest and have a lot more things in life to spend positive energy on. We use a lot of snakes for educational stuff. Let me tell you, kids don't know better. So you know what? They have nothing but a great time. We do parties all over the place. We've done, I don't know, 20,000 presentations. I say parties loosely. They're educational, hands-on, pythons at the, group of pythons, everything else. It's all fun. So now, think about this. So this snake's coiled around the eggs for 84 days. No food, only water it's going to get is rain. I'll tell you, is that sacrifice or what? And of course, in order to do that correctly, they need to have a good body weight. So back to the topic of a snake's body weight. If a snake lays its eggs, you take it from the eggs, and then you put it in a cage and you feed it everything you can feed it, maybe you're going to probably be able to get that snake obese. If she laid eggs, probably more than likely, all she's going to do is save up for that next time to have more babies and more eggs. Kind of like a rich person saving up their money. Just kind of a little bit of wisdom. So we've learned that what we do is we just maintain and feed them real heavy before eggs. And this girl here is getting close to laying some eggs. She's not close to laying eggs, but she's close to going to that cycle. So she'll be off food in a couple weeks, and she'll be going into her long fast. And so if you think she's fat, she is, because she needs it. And you know what? Think different when you think about animals. Try to think like the animal, not like the person. Like this snake here, if I let it go in a big building, it'll go find the smallest, tightest quarters to go lay in and hide, because you know what? The reason why it survived, it was a good hider its whole life. That's why when you walk out in the wilderness, you don't see many snakes, because they're hiding, because they have to hide, because they have to be 1 out of 200, 1 out of 300. I don't even know the survival rate. It has to be 1 in 300 or something crazy, because if a snake lays 60 eggs a year for, let's say, 10 adult years, that's 600 babies. And of course, she's going to lay more at the end, less in the beginning. 600 babies, but yet somehow only maybe 2 survive. That's some pretty tough odds. And so, anyway, thought I'd share some detailed facts. What do you think? I'd love to hear your comments, and hope you enjoy this video, and check out this big girl. She is so heavy I can barely pick her up. And I could use the word fat, but that's politically incorrect anyway. Anyway, you guys, living the dream. Hey, you can learn a lot from a dummy.